And action.
Yeah, we can start it now.
Welcome to Inside the Broken Family. We are all here to discuss our thoughts and our feelings and things that we've been thinking about, writing about, and does anybody have anything they want to share, thoughts, feelings about last week?
Really liked our guests. They were cool.
Yeah, they were really awesome.
And we got our first, she gave us our first gift. That was
It
really,
was very kind, very
was
thoughtful.
really
Do you want
thoughtful.
to show it off?
They did together.
Yeah.
Be our model.
This is the gift. She gave a whole description of what it means. It was very nice.
Really,
Very thoughtful.
really sweet.
Yeah.
That was fun. I really enjoy meeting people and having them come. It adds a really nice dynamic every time. It's been great.
I thought their daughter was awesome.
Oh,
for
12?
12, yeah.
Yeah, she's darling.
She's great.
Yeah, that was really awesome.
Okay, so
Wait,
what?
last week, Mom and Dad's stories were their personal longest each.
They were.
They were. I did
I
a
didn't
long
know.
one. I was worried about it.
Dude, your guys' stories, it was half the podcast. They
Yeah.
edited it. It's half
Really?
the podcast, yeah. Just you guys.
I told you,
You
I
guys-
was worried
You
about
guys
it being
spent
long.
an hour just in your story.
Wow.
Really? Yeah.
I told you I was worried about my story being long,
It was great.
and you
Yeah,
said,
it was
"Mom,
great.
your stories have been like 5 minutes."
Yeah.
And
literally.
so then I was like, "Okay, but this one's gonna be longer." And it was. It felt weird to read it because I kept turning page after page, so it felt awkward for me.
Yeah, it was awesome though. They were good stories.
They were great. Both great.
All right.
And these boys, anybody tired from your hike?
No.
They
Oh,
just
yeah,
did
I
a.
am.
They just did a. How far hike did you guys do today?
14 miles.
14 miles to Bloomington Lake.
And Abby?
18 miles.
I was tired.
Probably how many thousand feet in elevation?
At least 3, I would think.
It's a lot. It's a tough hike.
Yeah, it was really good though.
Beautiful.
But we got to go to that lake and jump in. And
We did our plunge.
our cold plunge.
Cold plunge.
It was cold too.
Yeah,
It was really
it
cool.
was cold. And next time, others will,
Maybe
Join us.
next year.
right?
Who
It
knows?
is a tradition now. We've established it.
Yeah, we established 4 years.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Makes
Have
it
you
a
done it
tradition.
4 years now?
Someone in the family has done it.
Poor
4
Justin, you dragged him.
Justin hasn't done it 4 times.
No, but you dragged him. Dragged him. The first year was that when they were here for the 4th of July, and he hadn't been hiking, and the poor guy went.
We went straight
We
up the
went
mountains.
Really
Yeah.
poor guy. He's fine.
We
Right?
bushwhacked.
Yeah.
He's fine.
We went
Came
straight,
back maybe
we
a
went
little
straight
slow.
up
I
the
was
mountain,
the
no
poor
trail.
guy that year.
Where were
My
you?
knee was so
Oh,
yeah,
is
that's
that
right.
what
Coming
your knee was
down.
I couldn't walk.
Coming down, he
It
was
was really
really hard time.
Hey, me and Jeffrey and Abby sat there for so long. No, not Abby. Sam.
No, you and Jeffrey and Abby.
No, Abby didn't
And
go.
then
with
I
Justin.
went down with you,
It was you and Jeffrey.
and then I came and you and I went down
Yeah.
the rest. Yeah.
All right. How are you picking
Okay.
everybody? How are they reading?
Just that random. Jeff's going first.
Okay.
Are
Well,
you ready?
Sure, I can do something on the fly.
have you not? Oh, do you want to have someone else go then?
Yeah.
No, that's who
somebody
should
else.
pick.
Well, if he's not.
Oh, he's
I can figure
Do we
it
need
out.
a volunteer?
Well, I mean, I can do mine.
Annalise
if you want.
and
Yeah. You're ready?
I'm fine.
You're ready? Okay.
All right. So this thought has been bouncing around my head. I feel like I say this every week.
You do. Especially since you're little Martian man. You really
Wait.
start talking about that on it. No, maybe he does say it every week, doesn't he?
It's just
So
funny.
keep
Now
saying
you,
it.
now you hear yourself
Yeah.
say it every week. I catch myself doing things and I'm like, wow, I do that a lot.
But it's true. This thought's been bouncing around my head for probably 3 weeks now. And I kept putting it off for other stories. And now I wrote it. Not very long. But, yeah. Oh, there is one thing I wanted to say beforehand. There's a mention of a ulama in this story.
Excuse me?
Ulama?
I thought you said your mom.
That would be my mama. And that would be you.
You
That's
llama?
right.
You didn't
Yeah.
say llama. You
Ulama.
said you llama.
Yeah,
What?
ulama.
How come I don't hear the differences?
Wait, actually?
No.
We'll just move past it. We'll move past it.
Wait,
That's crazy.
I don't hear the differences.
That's fine.
So ulama is a Sri Lankan myth of what they call a devil bird. It makes a really loud shrieking noise in the jungles or wherever Sri Lanka is. So I just wanted to have you guys know that before I read it. It's not that important. But. A ulama. Okay. All right, here we go. This is titled Screaming. You okay, Mom? The reaction is strong.
I was feeling like I was going to hear Mr. Ballard's story.
There is a screaming in my head, booming, shrill, and perpetual, like a gunshot in the dark beside my ear, like a train's whistle warning a stuck car on the track, like the waves endlessly hitting the sand over and over and over again, a haunting rhythmic drum of the dead. There is a screaming in my head. It's wailing as limitless as the winds of the earth, sparked in a moment, fanned into a blaze by isolated silent chemicals, ablaze with immunity to smothering and rain. There is a screaming in my head. Three forms does it morph, flash, boom, mutate. A grotesque fledgling squawking incessantly, I need now, I need now, I need now. Mouth open, wanting to be force-fed, to quench the insatiable hunger. Flash, boom, mutate. A growling, screaming, grimacing beast. Teeth bare, claws exposed, biting, ripping, tearing, devouring. Survival fear breeds devastation and death. So much death. Flash, boom, mutate. A mutilated, fragmented man, rocking in the fetal position, cradling some internal pain, hands covering ears, eyes clamped shut, mouth opened in a horrific, otherworldly scream. When heard through the heart, can be heard as a cry of a shattering soul. Flash, boom, mutate. In a limitable tornado roaring through my internal world, scarring the planet. Flash, boom, mutate. On and on it turns. There's a screaming in my head. Poof, I've found a magic shovel. To feed the featherless ulama, to beat the terrifying beast, to bury the shards of the crying man, all with the goal of strangling the screams. My grave digger skills are lacking. Decaying zombies work their way back to the surface. Their screams fill my universe once more. An assassin? No, a failure. Their distorted cacophony, vibrant as ever with a note of death, brings me to my knees. Feeling the pain shoot from the bruises deep in my caps reminds me I've been here before. There is a screaming in my head. I am powerless to make it stop. This is truth. I can stand, I don't have to kneel, subservient before the shrieking undead gods. This is truth. I can release the shovel, and I can open my arms to what is. I don't have to believe in magic, and I don't have to spend my time feeding, beating, or burying. This is truth. I can walk. I can choose my direction. I can create, even if there is a zombie procession following behind me screaming the hopeless hymns of the damned. I can be here. I am, even if there is a screaming in my head.
I really love your writing. I always do. I enjoyed it a lot. You had a moment in there where you were describing the different voices or screams that you hear in your head, and you were describing them in different ways. But you described a man in the fetal position crying.
Yeah.
And I imagined you in the fetal position crying, and it made me very uncomfortable. And I found that weird that it made me uncomfortable to imagine you like that.
Sure.
For me, it's sort of interesting because I felt like, and I, of course, don't know exactly what you were talking about, but
The screaming in my head.
I felt like they were your demons that you felt like you could never get right, and that eventually you saw it clearing, and it started to calm, and I just like that picture of finding out maybe that you almost didn't have to be so hard on yourself, that then there was some freedom in that clearing for you. I mean, I don't know exactly how that was, but that's...
That's fine that you had that image. I didn't talk about it clearing at all.
Oh, that's exactly what I pictured. Because there was so much screaming, and then all of a sudden there was... To me, I took it as a clearing, but you still had... I think you said the dams. I pictured these ladies in black cloaks following you.
Were they
Not once did
Shame. I don't know how you did that. It's cool. It's cool. You were writing a story in your head while he was reading his.
That's so true.
His story, it was weird. I saw these things while you were doing it. So, anyways, that was the way I took it.
Was the flash boom
Mutate.
that went on through the first half of your reading, but in the second half, those went away.
Read the line right before you started that. That'll clear it up.
Just before I started.
Saying flash boom mutate.
Well, he did it a couple different times, right?
But he did it in a row.
Oh,
Right.
Flash boom mutate. Describe. Flash boom mutate. Describe.
What I said was 3 forms does it morph, flash, boom, mutate.
So he's going through the different forms.
And then I went into
okay.
the forms.
Oh, I made a whole different story.
Listening is hard, and that's not an insult. I mean that literally. Listening is really hard.
Yeah, but it was interesting.
Because we listen through our own filter.
Yeah.
And it's
But that's
really hard.
really interesting that that's what those words that you were saying it.
I felt like you were describing that you had these screams in your head that were consistent and regular, and that you had recognized, even though they hadn't gone away, you would recognize that they were there and why they were there. And maybe that was something that you were trying to get to a point where the screams in your head no longer were part of your journey.
Not really. It was more of me trying to touch on this idea of willingness or acceptance, that the screams are never going to go away.
And you probably I'm assuming, but probably for a large portion of your life, you've tried to get rid of those screaming voices.
Yeah, I would say for most of my life, literally. Yeah.
And now you're at a point where you're accepting those are a part of you,
Yeah.
and they're not going to go away. But you can still find peace.
Getting better at willingness and acceptance. Yeah. Getting better.
I really liked your
It was
story.
really good.
I kind of like it reminds me of when Jeffrey showed me screamo music the first 20 times.
She didn't understand
It
a
was-
thing I said.
No,
I get what you're saying.
What do you say?
and it made me like uncomfortable because I didn't want to like it, I think, and I didn't want it. And so I would tell him to turn it off. And then
Then he played louder.
he would try, no, he would say, Mom,
Read the
just
lyrics."
read the lyrics. And then, so I started reading the lyrics, and now, it's not my favorite music, but it doesn't bother me as much. So,
All that to say, now I don't bother you as much.
That's really funny. That's really funny.
what?
I was just following your line of reasoning.
Yeah, because he wrote about screams in his head.
Yeah. And now it doesn't
No,
bother
it
but
doesn't
how
bother.
come-
It doesn't bother you as much.
How come the men get that?
I
and
mean,
I
I
was
totally-
kidding you.
I
I'm
totally-
totally understanding
And I
you.
go-
Wait, hold on. Let's
That's
you
what you're doing.
wait.
That's
You wrote a story. You wrote a story.
Wait, I want to know what you think she was saying.
I get what she was saying.
But what?
Well, she was
Put it
saying
into
how
words.
the screamo music at first made her super uncomfortable, and she would ask Jeffrey, or I would do that same thing when anybody was in the house. I'd like, turn it off. I don't want it in the house.
Okay, you're repeating. Now,
What?
make the connection between why was she saying that and this.
Oh, because you were talking about screaming in your head, and so it reminded her of the screamo music.
Okay, that was it. Okay.
What?
I don't know.
Anything you want to add?
I don't know why you had to say that at the end. I was just saying that kind of reminded me of that, how we have, I think we all have like,
So she was right. Mom was right.
what?
That's awesome. All right. Yeah.
Good job, Mom.
Nice work.
What? Yeah, me and Annalie get each other this a group chat.
Okay.
She
Howard.
always has understood me.
She has. She's very good at it.
She is. All right.
How are we picking?
You're up.
Oh boy, I lost
Mother.
something. Let me see if I can find it. What's
No, I
wrong?
had like a
Go
brain
for it.
aneurysm.
You said
Mother.
mother.
Because I pointed at Jeff and said mother. I meant to say like son and mother.
Okay. I have to. Wait.
Just read the story.
No, I had a part of
You
it.
have
I'm
glasses.
missing.
What did you miss?
Um.
Wait, hold on. You knew that and you didn't prepare?
Well, no,
Don't do
I
that.
thought I had it.
Are you ready, Mom?
Did you find your little book?
Look, I need you to stop moving things. I have
Oh,
things.
okay,
I have
sorry.
things where they're at. Now
Is there
you're like.
screaming in your head.
Yes, always.
Favorite that.
Okay. So I have just had so many thoughts in my head, apparently screaming in my head because I couldn't quite get out a story today, but I did end up getting one. And it's about choice or choosing. And I looked up the definition of choice, and it says an act of selecting or making a decision when faced with two or more possibilities. When you're young, we have so many choices, big and little ones. What to eat for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. What type of cereal to eat. Lucky Charms, Frosted Flakes, or Count Dracula. Count Chocula. Favorite Pop-Tart, strawberry or chocolate. What friend to play with, Gina or Karen? Should I do my homework? How to cut my hair, a shag or like Farrah Fawcett? What clothes to wear, what record to listen to, the Osmonds or Grease? What boys to date? When you get older, some choices become different, but we still have big and little ones. Should I go to college, Rick's in Idaho, or stay home? Where should I work, Dress Barn or Hallmark? Getting married, what type of dress do I want? Lacy or poofy? What colors should we have in the wedding? Mauve or burgundy or both? Which car do we take to school, the Honda or the Pinto? Should we rent a house or an apartment? How long should we wait to have a baby? 2 or 3 years? As we get older, we still have big and little choices ahead of us. Where should we raise our children? What schools are the best? Or should we homeschool? How many kids should we have? 3's great. The older we get, choices change again in our lives. 6 children is awesome. Should we move? Yes, to Utah. As we hit our 40s, big and little choices still ahead. What house to buy? There are so many to look at. Let's do the big one on the hill. That one has a wonderful porch, big porch on it. 2.5 years later, we choose to shut down a business. My husband needs a new job. Which one is the best? Insurance is the one he chooses. We have to sell our house on the hill, starting over down the hill. Which one to buy? The one on the corner works. 12 years later, we choose to move again. Then 2.5 years later, we've moved again. I'm turning 60. My husband is 62. We still have big and little choices ahead. When will my husband retire? Probably never. We still have to pay our home off. Will I stay fluffy? Or will I... or will I continue to lose weight? I will choose surgery again so I can keep moving through my pain. I will choose not to look back, and I will choose to expand my horizons. I want to stop choosing fear and let myself soar. I choose to keep writing. I will choose to keep finding truth and not be deceived by cover-ups and lies. I will choose love and kindness, not bitterness and anger. I will choose learning and growing. The real choice ahead is now in the next 40 years. Will I be buried or cremated? Maybe I will leave that choice to my husband or children.
Please don't leave that choice because that'll be a whole mess.
I won't.
One thing I like about your writing, Mom, is it's very honest. It's very honest.
You once told me that you didn't like the way I gave talks because I used...
Because you didn't go into doctrine at all.
Right, but
Which now
No, but
is fine with me.
I told stories.
Yes.
And that's what I've always...
that is what you did.
My life...
That is a story.
I-
That talk.
Which one?
When you had this magical thing happen. That was beyond physical description. I don't even... Physics.
What
are you
Oh, you
describing?
broke the laws of physics.
This
What are you
one?
talking
Yeah.
You told me about that
Oh!
story.
Yeah.
I'm not going to
Right
reveal
about
it
that.
because you'll just have to wait
No,
around and listen
we don't
to
need
it,
to
but-
tell Snorri. Snorri?
That's not
That's on.
Snotty
Snotty
story.
story. Yeah,
Oh,
no, we don't
that's
need
the-
to do that. All right.
Did you guys have Pop-Tarts as kids?
Oh,
Is that a
yes. So my mom
Yeah.
didn't cook much.
No, but I just didn't know Pop-Tarts existed.
They are an old thing.
Pop
Pop-Tarts have been around a long time.
So the pop.
How old do you think she is?
I'm old.
That's old.
It is old. Not yet. I'm not 60 yet, but soon. We should have a birthday celebration one.
Yeah, we'll do that, Mom. We'll do that for you, okay?
No, it's just
No,
birthday
it'll
too.
only be you.
No.
What?
Because
Jeff
I'm taking
doesn't
my
matter at
I'm
that
taking my
point.
daughters to a concert, so literally
On the 17th?
on the 18th,
No. Well, he's
which
gonna
is the
be-
Sunday,
Well,
which is when it would happen.
well, oh.
So it was
Be you. She was like,
No, that's
internally
sad. No. I like sharing my birthday with you. It's been my since I was 21 years old.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. All right, any more?
I love the way that you have come to this thought of how important in anyone's life the fact that you recognize that there's always a choice to be made. in whatever, I mean, a myriad of a million different things, there's always a choice.
It's maybe taken me a long time to get here, to realize that there's choices.
I liked a lot the line where you talked about selling your home, and then you
Oh yeah.
you talked about having to start over further down the hill.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. It was really cool the way you wrote that, because you didn't need to add in that further down the hill.
That's really what happened.
But the significance of that writing, but you didn't need to say that. You didn't have to say that. But it was just very, I liked it a lot.
What was our feeling about moving, even though there was a lot of stuff going on? What was our feeling about moving from the house on the hill down to the house further down? How did we feel about that move?
I think that was a hard move for
Hard,
us.
but what did we realize?
Well, I mean, we might have two different thoughts on that.
Yes, you might.
But for me, it was, I mean, I loved our house. Our house on the hill was, to me, the most perfect house in the way with a big porch, and we had rocking chairs on the
You mentioned
outside.
that porch, and I don't remember sitting out on that porch
Oh,
ever.
we did.
We did
sit
all the
out-
time.
We did sit out there.
I was too.
Mom and I did.
Yeah, we'd sit on the porch, but it had the most beautiful view.
Yeah,
And
The lightning storms that came in.
well, and it was like a Cape Cod house, like it was back east, and it was just everything I could have dreamed of, like what I thought a house would be like.
The snow was magical.
Yeah, and because we had big windows, and the main room was 2 stories high, and so it had a big rock fireplace, and it was just it was a beautiful house, and that was really fun to be able to have, and we enjoyed it. But I think we had to start over. We had choices in the business. We had to shut down, and we were blessed enough to still be able to get home.
It's not as simple as to say that our choices lead us to where we are, because I now think there are lots of different factors that go into people's lives, but I liked how you showed that idea of like choices leading you forward, or
Yeah, and you started out with really small choices, like what to eat, and who to play with, and then it went into very heavy choices. And that shows kind of the natural progression of life. It was good.
Thank you. Okay, Annalie, who's next?
You did it.
Dad, you didn't get to finish what you were talking about, though. What for you was,
Well, our experience, we loved the house. We loved being up there and the views and everything.
Oh, I know what you're going to
But
talk about.
we were really struggling with some of the neighborhood and
Yeah.
how they were treating other people.
Yeah, I didn't
And
know
when we
that.
went down to that house, it changed.
Yeah, there was nice.
And there's so many times that I said, I'm so glad we're not up there.
Yeah, because it was interesting because we literally lived on top of a hill, like it was a big hill with very rich homes. And we didn't realize when we bought it that like the kids would compare where they were going on their trips to Hawaii or Alaska or wherever it was on these spring trips. We couldn't take our kids on those kind of trips. When we moved in, they thought my husband was a doctor. He was a roofer. And so
he was a doctor of roofing.
yeah, but they were kind of like, what? They had heard he was a doctor, and so there was an attitude.
There
up
was
there.
an air,
There really
yeah.
was an air.
And I didn't enjoy it
And
at all.
they also said they wouldn't build above the hills, and they built everywhere.
That deserves some stories for sure.
Yeah.
There's some interesting things about that.
I think the way that you wrote it, like you said, you expounded on how beautiful that home was, and then you said down the hill, the one on the corner is bad.
Yeah.
Well, and I
That's
think
the way it
that's
was.
kind of the way
It
we
was, we
felt
just,
at that
That's how you
time.
felt.
we
Yeah.
fell into
there-
whatever there was.
Well, there was like one on a cul-de-sac. Like I can totally remember these houses. It's so funny, but it was just it's interesting when you're having to sell a home that maybe you like, but because of situations, financially or whatever, that we needed to start again, we needed to sell that home. So we just needed something big enough to fit the family. And that felt right, you know. And so there was a few different houses we could have chose, but we liked the one on the corner.
Yep.
All right. I didn't finish the one that I was going to do for today, so I'm going to read a poem and a short story that I wrote. I'll start with the poem. It is called The Mystery in Suffering. How far will the damned fall? Before the dawn shows dark, after the dusk brings light, in the endless future, we have made our decision. A smile, a laugh, a God. Did they look at their feet while they were standing, before they fell? Stood on a cliff of self-made stone, life in loneliness and peace in pain. How far will the damned fall, before thoughts existed, after our mind's death? In the self we revel. God loves evil, charity knows. Good loves evil, charity knows disease. Loving the mountains and knowing we built this, the damned fall forever. The damned love pride, the damned. We are the damned.
Are we going to comment on this one first and then, okay.
Yeah.
I
I love the way you started. Would you read the beginning, just the very, very beginning, about the dawn and the...
How far will the damned fall, before the dawn shows dark, after the dusk brings light, in the endless future?
I love the way you started.
You got a line that said charity knows disease.
Yeah.
What'd you mean?
I just think a lot of people are not very genuine in their actions, almost ever. And a lot of people do things and call it charity or want to say it's good, and it's not.
it tricks people
They're
into
doing
thinking
it-
they're giving things.
They're
that-
doing it for a different reason, to feed whatever's inside of them. That's what I mean by that.
So, like, an example may be someone that gives a large gift of money just to have their name on the building.
Yeah.
Like
Or somebody who I don't know, calls a friend and or gives a friend money and then asks for something in return or something like that. You know.
I think there's lots of genuine people in the world, but sometimes you're right. People do need to sort of have this recognition for what they've done instead of just,
Be anonymous.
well, and sort of being grateful for getting to give, because I think it feels good when you do service and things for people that, you know, you genuinely find out about and you want to help. It's a nice thing to be able to do.
Maybe this Jesus guy had it right when he said, "Don't let your right hand see what your left hand does when you're doing charity."
It's a good saying.
Yeah, that's interesting, right?
All right, the next one is called The Alien. Everything I do is done in good faith. Faith that if I keep doing things, one day I'll feel normal. Every time I drive, my seat wants to recline. Even while sitting here, the weight of feeling alone makes me want to stop. All my time spent standing, my body fights like a flower that hasn't got enough sun to stand tall. Contorting back muscles and a neck that's been broken seems to make standing not an impossible task, but a task that is filled with pain. Is it the years of physical abuse that has gotten me here? Or is the soul inside me sick of being tortured? My entire life has been one big excuse for my unwillingness to accept who I am. As I sit here writing this, the choice to be a man worthy of standing on mountains is mine. Instead, I'll just look up at the mountains, screaming with vitriol at my self-caused pain. This life I'm choosing to live makes me want to lay my seat down in the car, makes me want to lay down whenever I stand up. I'm too blind or willfully ignorant to allow a change. A thought wants to hold on to me. A spirit that can touch the sky is one light enough to be free. Can my spirit become light enough to touch the sky? My pain then will be replaced with freedom. At this moment, my spirit is heavy enough to pull my physical body down, as if to tell me the choice is not mine. The fact that thoughts and feelings guide the weight of my soul is not a comforting one. It makes me wonder how much of me is physical. From others' view, I'm plagued with a sickness. From my lonesome mind's eye, I only see sickness. Sickness of those who pretend to stand straight and tall. The sickness of the drivers sitting straight and upright in their seats. Why have we let the pretenders build our world? It's okay not to be okay. And anyone who acts like the weight of their soul is not crushing them is maybe the thoughtless one. How many souls have you seen touch the sky? How many souls have you seen dance hand in hand with God? My eyes can't look away from the dark truth that no one has and I won't ever get to. That rare ability to stand tall without trying, or to sit in your car without having to lay your seat back, is something you're born with, something you can't lose. I have never been able to without pain engulfing me. I want to dance in the clouds with the sun. I want to climb all the mountains in my way. I want nothing more than to stand tall every day, but I can't. This world wasn't made for me. I must be an alien sent from outer space, a place where my soul can't be heavy, a place where my heart doesn't race. All I want is to feel connected to this body I was born in, not striving to stay. A voice calls when I can't stand tall, when I have to lay down in the car. That voice feels like home. It brings me to the clouds. Touching the sky here is amazing. My soul feels light enough to forget. The only way there is through death. Yes, a thought sad for most, yet a thought that makes me smile as I write this. So I must be an alien, born to the wrong body, a cosmic mix-up of some sort. Because the gravity here makes my body want to lay down, when everything inside of me wants to be free. Is this the doomed reality of us thinkers? The people willing to question everything? Are we damned to feel lost? I used to wonder why some great minds would choose to settle into a religion or a certain form of thought. Now understanding has hit me. The pain of knowing that we are falling and will continue to fall until the sun scorches our perfectly placed earth, or we float further into the unknown only to be frozen in the end. I've looked for myself here on earth, my whole life knowing all this ultimately is pointless. There is no solace in the face of thought. Only turmoil exists as I search for my soul in the me that ran around the house with string tying knots, experimenting on apple peels and folding paper in every way imaginable. I've looked in the me of now that hates to leave his bed, wishing for death to take him from this reality. The me that wants everything and does nothing. I've looked for me in the person yet to be, a person far different from the present, one that flies in the sky and climbs mountains, one who stands tall and doesn't lay his seat back in the car. Even after I search, ripping apart every bone that makes me stand, after the muscles have been torn strand by strand, all this in the hopes I'll be someone different. The me my soul screams for is a person I don't think I'm able to be. Gravity here is too strong. The weight of living is too much. I feel like an alien.
I think he wrote about a very serious subject that a lot of people can relate to. And I think that's why it was very, I don't know, hard for you to read, just because, and it was very close to you. And I think it can help a lot of people not feel alone.
I can relate to the idea of looking at a mountain and wanting to climb it and just continuing to look.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can relate to that idea a lot.
You're talking about being an alien. I felt that way before. Interesting enough, I was going to write about my time, and I will share it sometime, but kind of a similar time that I struggled with suicide. And, but your description of it, of feeling like you don't belong, like to me, I can't describe things in those words, but you did it in a way that I have felt before, and I appreciated the way you described it. And you said something about, I don't know, it was your first time of looking at the mountain or something, with laying your seat down, but it was something you said that hit me about looking at the mountain. And I don't remember what it was now, but I appreciate your honesty of how you felt with that, because my words do not come out the same way that yours do, but I have felt definitely like an alien. And I appreciate your honesty about that.
The idea of a soul having weight and not just like a little bit of weight, a lot of weight. I like that idea. It's an interesting idea to chew on.
I thought that exactly what Jeff said as far as the weight of your soul. That it seemed to me, and you're reading that you have had this ongoing battle between your mind and your soul, and not being able to reconcile the two within your space, and feeling like you were an alien in this body because of that battle that you were struggling with.
I love too where you talked about being little and you felt like you could soar. I think you said soar in there, maybe you didn't, but it was about folding the papers and doing the strings, almost like if you could go back to that time, that felt a little more free to you, if I took that right.
Yeah, I said, only turmoil exists as I search for my soul in the me that ran around the house with string, tying knots, experimenting on apple peels, and folding paper in every way imaginable.
You guys would take those apple peels.
Is that the machine?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it was the coolest thing.
Yeah.
And you would also take the cars. You were the only one that did this too. He would tie. Do you remember he'd do the long rope from the top of the stairs, and he would put a car on the bottom of it, and you would take it to the top of the stairs, and you drop that thing, and it would fly and hit the wall and come back up.
Yeah, we do that.
You would take paper and make every
Everything.
type of animal that you could imagine.
I remember you doing that a lot.
Yeah, and what teacher let you do that in class? Do you remember?
Schaefer, Mr. Schaefer, I think.
Because he let you guys just do that, which was really cool.
I found that line that you were talking about at the very beginning. If you want me to
Yeah.
read it about the mountains.
Yeah.
My entire life has been one big excuse for my unwillingness to accept who I am. As I sit here writing this, the choice to be a man worthy of standing on mountains is mine. Instead, I'll look up at the mountains, screaming with vitriol at my self-caused pain.
It's a good line.
And I just loved it because it made me think about sometimes how we play victims to what has happened in our life, and we think we can't do something because of what's been done to us. We can't move out of that space, and I don't know. That's what I thought of.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Made me think of this idea I've come to professionally working with people that that I've heard from other people from an Eastern philosophy that talks about that in life we don't get to choose if we suffer, we get to choose our type of suffering. Mm-hmm. So that picture you painted of like standing, looking, and like vitriol at self because of the pain I created. It's this pain of like sitting and doing nothing, which is a real pain. And then, you know, we literally climbed a mountain today, and there's literal pain in that.
Yeah.
It's not wonderful. It's not bliss. There's suffering in that. So it's not that we get to choose whether we suffer. If we suffer, we get to choose our type of suffering.
Yeah.
Well, it's what we do with it.
No,
Yeah.
we get to choose our type of suffering.
And we always get to choose it. But it does feel out of your control at times also. Because yes, you do go through suffering all the time, but the type of suffering that some people go through mentally feels out of your control.
Yeah, 100%. But I like the vision of you jumping on top of the mountain. You're glorious on the mountain, but you couldn't get up to the mountain. I think we can't achieve things. That's where we have to let go of. Maybe it's our script, our vision. Let go of certain things so we can move forward.
I don't know what it is exactly, but yeah. It's weird. It's weird writing about depression or suicide or anything like that and sharing it. Because you feel like that feeling will go away or that thought will go away. And you just realize that it doesn't go away, but now you feel less valid. You feel less valid. Because there's this kind of thought around once you share it, like that's what you just need to do, just share it with people. But as you share and you get comfortable talking about these type of things, you just feel like you're faking it at that point, which is weird.
So how do we change that?
I don't know.
Does it need to be changed?
It's just the way it is, the way it comes out.
All right, Annalie. Annalie's turn.
If Annalie and Dad left, Dad and Abby and Miley, are you guys not reading?
Okay. On a lighter note,
I am thankful for you.
Well, I almost did
Because
a
I-
whole thing that would have been a little heavier like that one.
It's okay to have some lightness in our podcast.
Dad's thankful for your rhyming.
Yes.
I tried to rhyme today, but nothing comes out rhyming.
Does it really just happen?
No, I told you it's OCD.
Okay.
So I just start saying things and they end up rhyming, and then I'm like, oh, I have to keep going. And
Oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense.
so, yeah. Okay. I have started writing 5 ideas for today. They are unfinished, to my dismay. Why is it so hard sometimes to write what is in my head? This will work, or should I write this instead? I start and words slowly flow out. Then I wonder, what is this really about? I question and criticize the words on paper. My mind goes crazy and thinks it is like climbing a skyscraper. I then write some things from my heart. There again, I have a good start. I question whether these are words I want to share. I will come back to them if I dare. Everyone is so creative and beautiful with words. My page is only written by 2/3. Another thought I could write about. Some thoughts again linger and sprout. A little voice asks, "Are you writing about me?" Oh yeah, that was idea number 3. I go back to that one and it transforms. Do I like it? No, I need to brainstorm. Little baby fusses and I need to break. Will I have something to read, for goodness sake? Okay, he is asleep. Where did I leave off last? An endearing little story or something from my past. Why is this so hard? Things are not flowing. Start again about how this is going? Well, it has worked so far, even with a rhyme. I did it. Something finished in the nick of time.
That was awesome.
You could rival Dr. Zeus.
I know.
Doctor Who?
Zeus.
Isn't that right?
Yes.
Doctor Who?
Dr. Zeus.
No, say it again.
Dr. Zeus.
No!
He said it with a
The Greek
Z.
god? Doctor Who?
Dr. Zeus with an S.
That's a good bit.
Dr.
That was a good bit.
No, but really. Yeah, I love it.
Ollie, you're like amazing the way you do that.
You had a line in there. I don't know if you wrote it like this intentionally, but you said something like, "I'll write it from my heart. That's a good start."
You're
And
beautiful.
you have a beautiful heart, so I would agree with you. This is a good place to start.
Aww.
That was sweet.
I thought that was awesome. Like
I love the part about the little, it was Ellie, right?
Yeah.
That said, "Are you going to write about me?"
Yeah.
I love that. And then you rhymed that right in.
Can you read the lines of, you were talking about feeling inadequate and writing? Could you read that and then explain what you meant by the 2/3 part or something like that?
because she'd only been
Wait,
2
wait,
years
wait.
done, right?
Hold on.
Sorry.
I just don't want her to explain it.
Sorry.
Everyone is so creative and beautiful with words. My page is only written by 2/3.
My page is only written by 2/3.
What
What is that? Wait,
or
I'm.
2/3. I don't
It
know.
was
Oh,
only
okay.
2/3 written.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the way I got
Yeah,
it.
that's what I got.
Sorry.
I
Like
yeah,
it
flew over my
was.
head.
It wasn't finished again.
I know. I got it. It was great. I
And
was
all
like,
the 5 starts of your writing, right?
Yes.
It's kind of you're kind of the same.
No, I am, but Ollie does these cute little things that always come out awesome. And I like write all this like line of like chunk of stuff together, and it's just vomits out. And then I don't do anything pretty like you guys. It's like
Keep practicing.
Yep.
what?
You're
Yeah,
very,
it
Mom,
is.
you're very descriptive in
No,
the way you speak.
Mom, that's not something to. I'm not trying to make you feel bad. Literally, keep practicing and you'll get better.
Well, I will never sound like you guys, so I will.
No,
always
you'll
be-
sound more
You'll
like
sound like
yourself.
You want to be you.
Why would you want to sound like us?
You wanna
Because
be
you do
You're
really
not a
cool, and then I
clone.
want to be like Annalie that I rhyme. I cannot do.
But not only Annalie rhymed, there's been lots of people who rhyme.
No, but she does. Her little ones just stick together really good.
Well. Yeah. Thanks. and that was. I wrote many pages, and
What was the title?
I just put writing, but
That
great.
was light, fun, and clever.
It was
Yeah.
great.
It was really good.
Thank you.
all right. Dad, you're up.
Is it all? Am I all that's left?
Yeah,
You were all that's left.
Bring us. No, not yet. Not yet.
No, bring us home. Oh no, it's not yet. Can you walk, honey?
Barely. After 14 miles. Right?
It's a long hike.
Oh boy. Yeah. You have to rebob. You're cute.
Good to see you.
Oh.
All right. So, I guess to start, and I talked to the hikers today about this. Most of the weeks that we go into, preparing for today, it seems like I struggle with finding something that piques my interest to write about. But inevitably, in our day in and day out experiences throughout the week, something happens that kind of forms an idea in my head. And that's what happened for this reading. Oh, and the prop thing, we kind of talked about this. I guess we're going to just leave it up to you to see if you can find the prop in our podcast.
Yeah, but you're the one who has a problem. You're
Explain
the one.
what the whole idea of the prop is and everything.
Well, I think since we started this 3 months ago, I've tried to have a prop that related to what I was reading. And so now it's just going to be in the podcast arena. And we'll see if you out there listening can find the prop. All right. And the hikers today, they asked me, what's your title? I said, I'm only going to give you half. So I gave them the second half of the title of this. But the title of this is Gourmandize 2029. For two, the hostess asked, grabbing menus and napkin-wrapped utensils as she approached us. Would you be able to sit us outside? I asked. It's so beautiful today. Absolutely, she answered. We followed her outside. Is this okay? Yes, thank you. As we pulled our chairs out, sitting next to each other, she set the utensils on the table, offered the menus, and lifting the pitcher of ice-cold water, filled each of our glasses. Your server will be right out. Thanks, we said in unison, settling into our chairs with a smile. I love you. It's funny how after 45 years together, those 3 words never lose meaning. They only grow moment by moment into an infinite tapestry of life's joys and sorrows, life's creations lovingly created together and live together, a painting we continue to paint hand in hand, time stroke by time stroke, as those 3 words gather momentum, bringing deeper and more profound meaning to our life's journey together. I love you too, she answered. Hi, can I get you anything to drink? We glanced at each other. No thanks, water will be fine. I'll give you a few minutes. I read her name on her tag. We have 7 children, and when we were expecting our 6th, we agreed on a name that whether the baby was a boy or a girl, we would name the baby Peyton. Peyton's eyes immediately brightened. Did you spell it this way? Yep, we answered. This is normally the guy spelling, but I like it. Her eyes sparkled. 7 kids, wow, I'm an only child. I naturally offered with a smile, whether there is 1 or 12, it's still a family. "Are you ready to order, or do you need a few minutes?" she asked. We looked at each other. We had enjoyed gourmandize over the years enough to know what we wanted today. I'll have salmon en croûte with a cup of French onion soup, and would you add a side of lobster cream sauce? There never seems to be enough. I know, right? It's good, Peyton added. And what would you like? I think I'll do the pasta with butternut squash and brown butter sage cream sauce. Would you like to add any protein? Chicken, shrimp, steak, or salmon? What kind of meat is the steak? Prime rib, I think, Peyton answered. Okay, she continued, add that and also the shrimp and avocado salad. We were hungry and excited for our food to come, being we hadn't eaten since yesterday, and as she left to place our orders, I reached across the table and held her hand. Settling into our 45-year dance of conversation that inevitably centered around our current life's happenings. That was amazing, I said. Jean Valjean's crystalline tenor voice pricked at my heart throughout the whole play. When I watched Jean Valjean battling Javert around the lifeless body of Fantine, I cried. Realizing the gravity of Fantine's life, she tenderly continued, with her last breath begging Jean Valjean to care for her child, Cosette. Yes, I whispered, there has never been a story quite like this one. The tragedy and triumph throughout Jean Valjean's life, shown in journeys of love and sincerity, forgiveness and sacrifice, justice and injustice, it tugs at the very essence of this human experience. We've shared this musical powerhouse together many times, she said. I'm sure we'll go again, and smiling, she squoze my hand. All right, Peyton announced, with her hands and arms covered with 4 plates of delectable dishes. Here is your salmon en croûte, baked in a puff pastry with extra lobster cream sauce, laid on a bed of wild rice garnished with microgreens. Boy, I thought with a smile, Peyton is earning her tip today. And your cup of caramelized onions in a rich broth topped with toasted sourdough and melted Gruyere Swiss cheese blend. The aromas rising up through my nose as she laid the dishes on the table in front of me naturally. Closing my eyes, I drew in a deep, satisfying breath. And your hand-cut pasta with butternut squash and brown butter sage cream sauce with prime rib garnished with frizzled Brussels sprouts, dry sage, and Parmesan. I watched as her fork met the amazing dish before the plate even had time to settle in front of her. And Peyton ended with your gourmandized shrimp and avocado salad with red onion slivers, sliced almonds, Parmesan, cherry tomatoes, and fresh orange sections infused with a tangy citrus vinaigrette. Voila, bon appetit. I don't think Peyton said that, but that's what my 67-year-old mind heard. And so, for the next few minutes, all that left our mouths were and oh, that's so good, until we arrived at the next topic to fall among us. She was the first to break our delightful, pallid, and satisfying French cuisine silence. I've really enjoyed the story shared in our most recent podcast, she offered. I agree. They have been thought-provoking and vulnerable. It's taken a lot of courage, not without risk to many, including myself, to share private thoughts or private experiences. Yes, sweetheart, I'm so impressed with our family. With our kids. We paused, reflecting, and I went through my mind's list of the most recent readings. The Farrier's Wife. Get a whiff of sense. And then in my mind came me, my mother's daughter. And I laughed inside when I remembered Cowboy Up The Art of Hard Work, The Sanctuary, and Heal Your Body. Each bits and pieces of pen to paper words flowing through my mind, I was impressed. I focused back to her. This podcast has been a blessing in our lives, in the lives of our children and their families, in the lives of our grandchildren, and in countless others' lives, in bringing a way to express one's thoughts, one's ideas, joys and sorrows, triumphs and tragedies. It's brought our family closer. Has it been easy? No. Is it completely whole? No. Nor do I think it will ever in this life be perfect. But at least we are listening to each other, hopefully learning from each other, and growing as human beings in our broken family. You know, honey, every one of our children, their spouses, have participated in our podcasts, she stated. Yes, I answered with a tear in my eye. Okay, you two, how was everything? We didn't need to answer with the 4 dishes laid spotless on the table. Great, good as always, we smiled up at her. Could we add some pastries to go? Sure, what would you like? We'll take a millefeuille, which for all of those in listening land is a puff pastry and cream custard layered with vanilla glaze and chocolate, and means, in French, 1,000 layers. Do you want strawberry or classic? Peyton asked. Classic, it's my favorite. What else? She continued. Well, also we'll have a lemon curd tartlet, a tangy tart filled with lemon curd topped with meringue and candied lemons. My mouth's watering again, she said, and then she added a Queen Emma slice, which is layers of tropical cakes and mousse, guava cake and guava mousse, passion fruit cake and passion fruit mousse, coconut cake and coconut mousse, finished with coconut chantilly cream, passion fruit glaze, fresh berry garnish, and white chocolate curl. Wow, I thought. That is one powerful tropical sweet explosion of goodness. And lastly, she finished with a tartlet, raspberry pistachio, filled with light cream, custard, and fresh raspberries, finished with chopped pistachios and powdered sugar. While Peyton was getting our pastries to go, we were listening to a couple of ladies at the table behind us. They were exchanging comments about different podcasts they had been listening to. My ears perked up when the one friend asked enthusiastically, "Have you listened to Inside the Broken Family?" Yes, I just did. That's an awesome podcast. I love their written works shared in a family setting, no script, no controlled set, just them, dogs, babies, bathroom breaks, heated discussions, genuine family interactions, just them laughing. Come what may. I love it. Well, we paid the bill, pastries in hand, having thoroughly enjoyed our experience at Gourmandize. We got up to leave. Passing the table, one of the ladies we had just overheard gently grabbed my arm. "Excuse me," she said with eyes excited in realization. "Aren't you two the ones on Trader Jim's restaurant commercial in Cache Valley?" Yes, we are. We laughed and continued to walk out of the
So are you going to go to Gourmandize in
2029.
5 years?
We'll see.
Well, probably will.
I
Right?
think you have to now.
Yeah.
Okay, that was awesome because that was the meal we had after my little procedure I just had.
It just
This
happened.
is a meal that hasn't happened yet, Mom.
Yeah, this is
2029.
No, that meal,
2029.
actually
2029.
just happened.
They had ordered it before. He
Yes.
kind of said, "We know what we want."
Yes.
We've been there many times.
Yeah.
I loved it. I love the way you put it together. I love the fact. I love the stories. And I thought one of those were Brady had read.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
one was Matt.
They were everybody that has yet to
I
participate
know. I
in our
love that
family.
you
I like it
picked
too.
some stories that would have fit them. That was really fun. And
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say them again, just so
Yeah, you should. I liked your names for him.
I'll find them.
I like the positiveness of that. Maybe one day we will have everybody at different times be able to come and read. I hope so.
Yeah, so the farrier's wife, obviously.
Yeah.
This one I loved. Get a whiff of sense. Who was that? Get a whiff of sense. Alicia. Loves to smell things,
she does.
right? And me, my mother's daughter,
Oh,
Yeah.
Maddie.
right?
Okay.
And Cowboy Up, The Art of Hard Work, Brady. The Sanctuary was already written by Matt in Oregon.
Oh,
That's
the
the same-
sanctuary. So
Yeah.
who's the first one?
Heal Your Body was
Uh-huh.
Matt
Dalton.
Dalton.
Okay.
And the farrier's wife, obviously, is Sophie.
Oh, the farrier's wife. That's what it was. Oh, okay. Yeah, I love that. Did
I
you
would
get
like
to,
to hear that story.
Did you
from
like
Sophie.
get to hear that? That was really good. That was fun. Thanks. That was. Well, it made me want to go back and eat that food again because it's
Well,
amazing.
are you guys still going to be ordering the same thing in 5 years?
Could be. Well,
Well,
Dad will
me,
know.
I love
Definitely.
salmon on
Dad
crow.
will 100%.
Um,
And desserts, yes, those desserts.
But I had no idea. When did we do that? Thursday or Friday?
Fridays.
Friday. And so the reason this idea came to me is, and I don't know if you heard this, but there was two ladies sitting at the
Yeah,
table
he said
behind
that
us.
to me, and he goes,
And I was listening to them, and they were talking about, in their conversation,
A podcast,
about a
right?
podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes, yes.
So Dad had talked
That's
about that.
what triggered it.
And Peyton, the waitress who helped us,
Oh,
she
she was so cute.
well, Dad went through the same thing. He said the same exact thing to her that we'd taken Grandma and Grandpa Allen there, like I don't know,
Months
3
ago.
months
Yeah.
before, and Dad did the same thing to her. And I'm like looking at her, going, "Wait,
We
deja vu! I've
yes.
heard this before."
That's really funny.
And so then I said to her, "You know, he did this last time or something," and she said, "I was thinking that seemed very familiar." But it was funny because she spells her name just like you. But that
she was so proud of it. She said, "Yeah, it's usually the guy spelling, but I love it."
Yeah.
well, I like the positiveness of that, of what our future can become. That's great.
I like
That was
it too,
awesome.
yeah.
That was really fun, Dad.
I like the picture you painted.
Okay, Annalie.
Take us home, Annalie.
Okay. That was awesome.
Yeah, I like that a lot, yeah.
It was fun. Really fun.
All right, so thank you for joining us inside the Broken Family. I don't know what. Do we have a vote?
5-star.
A 5-star, yeah.
Oh yeah, on what? I think. Come on. If you
Come on.
don't,
You haven't said
If you
anything
don't
coherent
do-
yet.
I
You haven't said
If you
anything
don't-
coherent. It's like she's on drugs all the time. She's out of her mind.
if you don't do a 5-star, you will never taste a gourmandized dessert.
That's not true. That's not true,
Are your-
actually.
How about your kids will choose whether you are cremated?
That's funny. Which one? Vote or more?
Or you'll have screaming in your head?
You'll get writer's block.
Or
5-star review.
you'll never get the screaming out of your head if you don't do a 5-star review.
Oh, that's actually a good one. I like that one. All right, what do we
If you don't give a 5-star review, you may be asked to do a commercial for Trader Jim's restaurant.
Oh, you
in
should
Cache
just find
Valley.
that.
Oh, that was awesome.
These two were in a commercial for a restaurant that's now shut down
Oh.
called Trader
Trader
Jim's.
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 And so
And
yeah.
it was
The
poor.
acting was spectacular.
Yeah.
No,
Very good.
It was
the
Thank
food
you.
was really good that day, but we were terrible. And I actually had a lady stop me in the store. Were you in that Trader Joe's commercial? Oh my gosh!
So 5 years projected, we thought that maybe these two ladies would have said, "Oh, we recognize you from the podcast," but no, it was from Trader Jim's
That was
restaurant
really
commercial.
funny.
That was really
That was a great
good.
way, Dad.
That was really
That
funny.
was a tricker. That was funny.
Okay, we didn't get anywhere.
No.
You have to
Okay.
decide because you're great at decisions. You have to decide what we're doing for 5 stars.
The worst at making decisions.
You got 5 seconds.
I don't know. That
Do we have
meal
to,
was
do we have to
pretty.
talk about anything else?
We
Yeah,
gotta
what else we
decide
talk
the
about?
title of the episode.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
Okay. I mean, come on.
No.
Fresh fruit.
I mean,
Oh, there we go.
I mean, come on.
Fresh fruit at Gourmandize.
Fresh Fruit of Gourmandize. That's one title.
okay.
Screaming in your head.
I like Screaming as a title, just Screaming.
Also, never making it to the mountaintop or laying back in my seat or something in there. Something you said.
Laid back in my seat.
Laying back in my seat. Stand tall.
Stand tall, is a good one.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
I like that.
That's good.
Stand tall. Is that what we're doing?
Don't you do a couple?
I don't know. Everybody said that. It was.
Sounds good.
I
Yeah, I
realized
like
it.
that. I
Screaming
like
in
that.
my head. Fresh
like stand-
dessert and
Stand
screaming.
tall and scream.
Yes, it's tall and screaming.
Yeah, combine them.
That's a good match.
That's good.
All right.
All right, what's the 5-star?
I'll leave it at this.
Is there anything else?
Oh, what rhyme? Come on, Ali. You had a cute little rhyme in there.
Is there any? Oh. Okay, next week we're gonna vote on our favorite story of the month.
Oh, shoot.
Okay, that's what we're gonna start doing every end of the month. We're gonna vote on our favorite story for that month.
Oh, man.
So I just wanted you guys to think about that.
Okay.
That's hard.
We'll have to go back and listen.
Yeah.
And
Just
then-
this month.
Yeah. For June,
Wow.
right? June.
Well, in the future you can listen and then you can just.
But we're going to start with this month.
Yeah.
We're not
Okay.
going to go back to the
Beginning.
earlier months. Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
I guess if you want to, you can. If you have a favorite story from a prior
Oh,
month,
there's
also,
lots
this
of
time you can.
Well, that's hard.
Let's just keep it to month. That limits our.
What if we have a few stories?
That's fine.
You have to pick one, huh?
You can put a few stories down if you want.
Okay. Got it? It's been fun. And
Let's have a little more enthusiasm on
thanks
Ali.
for this opportunity.
Do you not want to host it again, Ali?
You're going to in a couple of weeks.
I know.
Well, wait a minute.
Oh
It's,
gosh.
maybe we should both host.
Yeah, we can both host.
You guys gonna try to fit in the
No.
same chair?
You can fit in that.
Oh, that would have If you guys did that, I would appreciate it. Just saying that.
Hopefully, it's not just the two of us here.
I really liked how Dad described what we do on this podcast, and
In his.
I don't really remember exact words because he said it so beautifully, but yeah,
What
I
do
really liked it.
do in your story? In a story today.
Will you
you read
read
it?
that part where you're just
Yeah.
describing?
That was really good. I want to clip that and make that like the beginning of everything, every podcast episode or every YouTube video.
The podcast has been a blessing in our lives, in the lives of our children and their families, in the lives of our grandchildren, and in countless other lives, in bringing a way to express one's thoughts, ideas, joys, sorrows, triumphs, and tragedies. It's brought our family closer. Is that far enough?
Yeah. That was really good.
Just the whole thing, though. You did.
He wrote and read a whole story.
It was
You're right. I mean, come on.
What are these words in these pages again?
There's so many little words on here.
It's a problem.
The Alzheimer's already set in.
But
She forgot what writing is.
my brain only works this far. And it goes.
I just imagine Mom's brain running on like a track and it only being able to go like a little bit. It was like it like ran a little bit and stopped. It was like,
It's
What was I doing again?
That's what it does.
It really does open doors for connection and being closer to each other. And that's something that I have really enjoyed. Watching my children, listening to their thoughts, and it has been it's been very impactful for me. So I've really enjoyed it. And if you've enjoyed it, please leave us a 5-star review. Or you won't get rid of the screaming in your head.